The 14th Amendment was passed by Congress during the Reconstruction period in 1868. To put it simply, the amendment made it illegal for any state to restrict the basic rights of citizens that are upheld in any other state. This is an idea known as equal protection of law, and was a direct response to civil rights issues related to freed slaves after the Civil War. During the 1886 case Santa Clara v. Southern Pacific, the Chief Justice Waite from the Supreme Court ruled that the 14th Amendment guarantees constitutional protection for corporations along with natural people. There are some upsides to this interpretation. It makes legal interaction with corporations much more streamlined. The largest problem arises where money and politics are concerned. Since the Santa Clara decision, corporations have been allowed to essentially pump money into political entities that support them, and the right to do so is protected by the 14th Amendment. The landmark case pertaining to this occurred in 1979, in the case the First National Bank of Boston versus Bellotti, which secured the idea of corporate personhood. This has been seen most recently in the interactions between internet service providers and Congress. ISPs have contributed substantial donations to members of Congress in order to satisfy their agendas. In the past decade, telecommunications companies such as Comcast, Verizon, and AT&T have contributed over $100 million to federal lobbying. Some congressmen have received over $1 million in contributions from telecommunications companies since 1989. These companies are using their fiscal power and influence as a tool, and have been able to push their agendas with money. The only reason they can do this is because of corporate personhood, which protects the right to donate to whomever they want, no matter the dangerous implications. Most Americans take issue with corporate funding of lawmakers when it comes to our civil liberties being sold out. An issue that has arisen has caused an uproar in the US, the recent demise of net neutrality. Net neutrality is the idea that all internet traffic be treated equally by internet service providers. Without it, ISPs could slow down or speed up anything they want, for anyone they want. Recently, the chairman of the FCC, Ajit Pai, proposed an initiative to repeal net neutrality. After a 3-2 vote, FCC had repealed net neutrality.
My coffee? Oh, all right.
Repealing net neutrality isn't even an idea that most Americans support. Massive outcries from sites such as Reddit, whose front page was filled completely with calls to stop the FCC's vote, as well as the sheer volume of messages that were sent to the FCC website, so many that they had to close the forum, are emblematic of the nation's stance on this issue. Internet service providers, though, and the congressmen they manipulate, don't care about this. It seems as though no congressional action was taken against the FCC because of their influence that ISPs have on government. ISPs have an incentive to get close with the FCC, and they did this by exercising their supposed corporate personhood entitlement. By lobbying for the repeal of net neutrality, private businesses were able to essentially buy a chunk of our government and change the course of our country. On top of this, Ajit Pai, the FCC chairman himself, used to be one of Verizon's top attorneys, so to suggest he's acting strictly out of a pro-business, anti-regulation agenda and not a specifically pro-ISP agenda seems completely unlikely. This isn't something many Americans think about, but has become a major problem in terms of keeping our government incorrupt. The solution to this problem seems obvious. Eliminate corporate personhood in the case of lobbying. The 14th Amendment's message is integral to our nation's values, but the way it has been interpreted has allowed for corporate abuse of power. Corporations should not be able to shell money out to politicians, because money is a universal influencer, and the idea of a corporation being able to manipulate government processes in their own self-interest is something that should be questioned and even fought against. It's time to stop seeing corporations as people, and start seeing only the people as people, because that's who should really be influencing our country's governments.